Good evening, I'm Emma Jane Vere and this is Television Tonga News. In the headlines, the Speaker of Parliament welcomes back the Prime Minister to the House. Tonga Family Health Association presents its report to the Speaker and members of Parliament. And Tonga Health staff upgrade skills for better delivery of awareness of NCDs. These and more stories, including news from the Pacific, sports, world and the weather information later on in this bulletin. Let's take a look at the news in detail. The Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Lord Whakawhanua, this morning welcomed the Prime Minister, Lord Tuiwhekanoa, back to Parliament after he was away representing Tonga in international meetings before taking a special 2-week sick leave.
The Prime Minister arrived at the Whaamotu International Airport yesterday afternoon. He confirmed to Radio and Television Tonga News that he had suffered a minor blockage of blood to the heart and not a mild stroke, as revealed in a previous parliamentary discussion. He shared that he was fortunate to have access to proper treatment and has recovered well. The Prime Minister also gave thanks to God and everyone who had prayed for his quick recovery. He adds that this will not affect his duties, but it has made him more aware to take better care of his health and heed the doctor's orders. Lord Tuiwhekanoa was welcomed at the Whaamotu International Airport by the Deputy Prime Minister Sami Waipulu, Minister of Justice Clive Edwards, Minister of Police and Inland Revenue Sosifatu Tafaiva, the Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Va'inga Tone, and the Secretary and Acting Secretary to Cabinet Paula Ma'u. Also at the airport was Lady Tuiwhekanoa and their grandchildren. A special prayer service was held at the airport to welcome back the Prime Minister. Several prayer services were held later at the Prime Minister's residence at Kolofo'o, and one led by the Prime Minister's Office and Ministry of Information and Communication. For Television Tonga News, I'm Sini Latu.
From Parliament, the Amendment Bill Number 4 of 2013 on the Act of Constitution of Tonga has been passed to the Committee of the Whole House for further deliberations. This is based on a recommendation from the Minister of Education and Training, Dr. Ana Tauwhe'olungaki. The Amendment Bill was submitted to the Office of the Speaker of the Parliament by the Tongatapu People's Representative Number 5, Aisake Eke. Here's Fatai Whainga'a with that report.
The Amendment Bill Number 4 of 2013 on the Act of Constitution aims to amend the current Constitution on the Prime Minister's election system. Tongatapu People's Representative Number 5, Dr. Aisake Eke, told the Speaker and members of the House that the bill will allow the people to elect the Prime Minister after both people and nobles representatives are voted into Parliament. Dr. Eke says he had suggested this bill 2 weeks after an announcement of the results of the elections. Therefore, all members who were elected to the House can challenge the Prime Minister's position, but they have to explain to the public their main objectives, vision, and why they want the position. This is to make people well informed of the candidates to the Prime Minister's position before voting for the most appropriate candidate. The bill also states that if there is a tie in the result of the Prime Minister's position, then members of the House will have to choose one of them to the role. The bill also states in order to submit a vote of no confidence to Parliament, the submission must be accompanied with reasonable grounds or good reasons, such as the need for a stable government or good governance. Meanwhile, Eke also described in a bill about another amendment to be made to Clause 51 of the Act of Constitution. This refers to the authority of the Prime Minister, which allows him or her to appoint 4 members of the Cabinet from outside from the Parliament if needed. He told the House that he does not believe in the grounds for this clause, which is an appointment made from outside due to a lack of expertise among parliamentarians. He believes representatives elected to Parliament are all experts in their own respective fields. After the first reading of the bill in Parliament, 10 members voted for the bill while 2 were against it. The Education and Training Minister then recommended for it to be passed to the Committee of the Whole House for further deliberations in which all the members agreed to. For Television Tonga News, I'm Fatai Whainga'a.
From the Magistrate Court, a ruling has been delivered to keep a Chinese woman and man in police custody until next week. They're accused of using forged Tongan passports to depart Tonga. Kalisto Yonuku reports.
Min Weng is charged for possession of an illegal passport, use of an illegal passport, and a forged passport. Nai Yen Zheng is accused of abetting to commit a crime. Min Weng is alleged of arriving at Fuamotu International Airport with a Chinese passport last Friday. However, on Tuesday, she produced a Tongan passport to depart Tonga from Fuamotu Airport. The Tongan passport shows the stamp of the Tongan immigration with no signature of an officer, while the Chinese passport shows a stamp with the signature of an immigration officer. The Tongan passport also showed the same person with a different name. She was arrested at the airport. Information from airline says Min Weng used two different itineraries for both of the names used in the passport. Meanwhile, Police Commissioner Kranofi told Radio Tonga and Television Tonga News that investigation continue into the matter. The magistrate Simloni Tuakalau ruled to keep both of the accused in custody until Wednesday next week, while they will reappear in court. This was based on a request made from the prosecutor Aminias Kefu. Lucky New is the legal counsel for the accused.
The Tonga Family Health Association has presented its report to the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, Lord Fafanua. This was presented in a special program held outside of Parliament House this afternoon.
In a speech from Executive Director of Tonga Family Health Association, Amelia Hoponoa, the report contains information on the status of youth in Tonga and the challenges and problems they face, as well as promoting a healthier lifestyle. The report also informs Parliament of the non-government organization's financial status. Tonga Family Health Association was established in 1975, which is an initiative of the late King Tupou IV. The program ended with a luncheon for the members of Parliament.
The Police Commissioner, Grant O'Fee, has confirmed the human remains which were discovered at Veitongo in June this year to belong to a 47-year-old man from Malapo. Grant O'Fee told Television Tonga News that DNA testing carried out in a laboratory in New Zealand has confirmed the identity to be Niu Mataivalu Talanoa Lele. Meanwhile, the family of the deceased held his funeral in June before the DNA test and results were released. The government is determined to expand economic growth opportunities for Tonga against a balanced budget. The Minister for Finance and National Planning, Lisiate Akolo, made the statement while chairing the 46th meeting of the World Bank, International Monetary Fund with other development partners. Here's Fatai Whaingaa with the details.
Information from the Ministry of Finance and National Planning says its minister told the gathering at the 46th meeting of the World Bank, IMF and other development partners last week that government will also seek the assistance of the World Bank and IMF. He adds that Tonga's budget outlook will be further challenged by weaknesses in remittance inflows and a serious injury to tourism sector from the unsubstantiated travel advice against Tonga by one of its principal source markets. Also fundamental to government's fiscal consolidation is its ongoing partnership and engagement with the development partners, including the World Bank, to manage and track progress of its agreed policy reform metrics. The World Bank was also requested to help reconcile the financing need to continue implementation of activities to expand growth opportunities, adequate finance for core economic infrastructure, maintenance and social public services, including health and education. Tonga is also registered to the Governor's annual meeting. This will consider collective measures within the World Bank and IMF implementations to recognize Tonga's low growth. This includes small states which are not only vulnerable to economic crises, but also to natural disasters and climate change. For Television Tonga News, I'm Fatai Whaingaa.
Staff of the Tonga Health are sharpening their skills and knowledge on effective ways of raising awareness on combating non-communicable diseases. This is delivered through a 3-day health promotion short course training. Anasiu Falekaona was there and filed this report.
The 3-day health promotion training was led by an expert from the Melbourne University's division called Nossal Institute for Global Health. The trainer, Sam Byfield, says Tonga Health is delivering a very powerful message in raising awareness on prevention of non-communicable diseases.
Work in partnership with them to address non-communicable diseases in Tonga, addressing diseases like diabetes and cancer and heart disease and stroke, which are now the main killer of people in Tonga and which cut short many lives and have a really large financial burden on families and communities as well. We've been putting together some training for Health Ministry staff and also staff from other government and non-government organisations in Tonga, all about health promotion, all about looking at how organisations can work with communities to address the causes and the risk factors of NCDs. This training is looking at the theoretical side, the academic side of health promotion, and why health promotion is important, and also working with the participants to develop some practical tools.
The head of Tonga Health, Dr. Ofa Tugia, told Radio Tonga News of the challenges they face when trying to effectively deliver a strong message to the public. The main challenges we face are the lack of resources, knowledge and proper training. We are pleased to get that help that will address those challenges from the Victoria Health Foundation, of which we are their Tongan counterpart. She adds that it is crucial for the public to work together with Tonga Health in order to improve the lifestyle of our people, who are the main target of the training. Participants were representatives from the Victoria Health Foundation and stakeholders in Tongatapu and the Outer Islands. The 3-day program is held after similar health awareness programs were carried out throughout Tonga.
Tonga is represented amongst climate change leaders from various Pacific islands who are meeting in Apia, Samoa, to prepare for the 19th conference of the parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This is a series of training events coordinated by the Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environment Programme, or SPREP, in collaboration with its partners. The week-long series of training ends tomorrow, October 18th, where senior officials will strengthen understanding of different negotiation threads at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Here's Sinilatu with the details.
Regional climate change leaders and senior officials are being prepared for joining negotiations in Warsaw, Poland. They are discussing climate science results from the 5th assessment report of the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, IPCC, and progress towards the development of a new climate change treaty. Information from the Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environment Programme, or SPREP, states the gathering is quite important as climate change is a leading issue in the region and the challenges are increasing. Amongst the gathering of regional climate change leaders is Tonga's Chief Executive Officer for the Ministry of Lands, Survey, Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, Aspeli Palaki, and his Senior Climate Change Officer, Sione Fulivai. The event is coordinated for the small island developing states of the least developed countries.
Tonga has a chance of participating in a regional music program called Polyfest, which is held in New Zealand. This was confirmed to Television Tonga News this morning by Tonga National Music Committee's Administrative Coordinator, Devita Tupulotu. Anasiu Falekano has more on that story.
Polyfest features brilliant cultural performances and musical talents. The Tonga National Music Committee's Administrative Coordinator, Devita Tuipulotu, says the committee will host a local music competition or music festival next May. The winners will represent Tonga to the Polyfest program. The program is a regional one. Our committee is trying to get Tongan songs featured in the program. We've already contacted Tupou High School's brass band and the school choir to participate. We are also waiting for a response from the Lavenga College to partake as well. This is part of boosting Tonga's music industry. The theme for next year's competition is Music Can Earn a Living. Mr. Tuipulotu says a successful Tongan singer in the music industry is Suliasi Poleo, who was one of the Tonga's first winners in Tonga's music competitions. Suliasi Poleo was the youngest competitor in the Tonga National Music Committee's music festival or competition. This was initiated by the late King of Tonga to boost the musical talent in Tonga. It was first started with the brass band competition and then individual singing. The last music festival hosted by Tonga National Music Committee was in 2005. For Television Tonga News, I'm Manasi Whalekaono.
That's the local news. Pacific is next.